What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today it is the championship score predictions again, back on the channel for week 2. We've already had an unbelievable first week of championship football there, and how is this week going to follow it up? Hopefully in a really good way. Make sure you leave your predictions in the comments down below, as you'll then be entered in my Lexalexus prediction league for free. If you do well enough, you appear on the league. If you're not on the league, keep trying, because then eventually you may get into the league if you persevere. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help. Please do hit the subscribe button, and it also really helps if you share the channel too. All of that really helps. But without any further ado, let's start going through my predictions for week 2. First game to predict is Birmingham versus Huddersfield. This is tomorrow's game, happening in around 8 o'clock. Intrigued to see how both of them actually have to play against each other. Both of them will be looking for their first goal and their first win of the season. Both of them drew a blank in their game in the opening game of the season. Huddersfield didn't manage to win at all and didn't even have a shot on goal. Birmingham managed to get an away draw against Luton Town, which I think was a decent result for them. However, they didn't really create much. So I'm not anticipating this game to be very heavily scoring there. I do think Huddersfield probably have the better attacking players. But Birmingham, with that home crowd, that might just take them over the edge. John Eustace as well might want to get a new start. New managerial bounces, 2 new managers going head to head. I have a slight feeling Birmingham might go on top here. I'm going to go 1-0 to the Blues. Let me know what you think of this prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Norwich versus Wigan Athletic. This is also really interesting as well. Both these teams were 2 leagues apart last year. Now they're playing in the same league. And both of them didn't manage to win their opening game. Norwich lost out to Cardiff, where in that game they really were below par in an attacking sense there, considering the attacking players that they got in that starting squad against Cardiff. Wigan could arguably say they were a little bit frustrated not to get anything against Preston. They looked really good in spells actually, but they just really couldn't muster the chances in the final ball. That could let them down this season, and honestly, if Norwich need a game to try and get something, I think this Wigan team, whilst it looks promising, I think going forward it doesn't offer much. So if Norwich get an early goal, I think this game could be seen as Norwich back to their best. As a score prediction, I do think Norwich will win. I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Norwich in this game. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Bristol City versus Sunderland. I think this will be really close actually. So this is the first one of the 3 o'clock games that we're going to have to predict in this one. So both Bristol City and Sunderland didn't win their opening game. Bristol City lost out in the last minute of the game to a Jean-Michel Seri deflection, and they were robbed, with a conceded goal with a penalty decision, which I really do not think was a penalty decision at all there. With Sunderland, they took the lead against Coventry and did well in the first half, but they definitely lowered down, their standards, in the second half. They weren't as sharp as they were. They weren't as compact. And that does concern me slightly. I do think the squad has flair, but I don't think it's got the mental stamina yet. And I think Bristol City, with the squad they've got, especially if the likes of Andre Vyman and Semenyo can link well, I think Bristol City might edge this on an attacking sense. So as a prediction, I'm going to actually go 2-1 to Bristol City. And that might surprise you, but I think Bristol City have got it within them to get a home win. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Burnley versus Luton. Now this will be close. Both teams were involved in low scoring games last time. With Burnley, they only edged out Huddersfield away from home by 1-0. And with Luton, they were involved in one of a few 0-0 draws in the opening weekend. So because I think part of it is because I think they're both organised. But I think what could be the difference is Burnley's possession play. They really did impress me at times against Huddersfield for how comfortable they were on the ball. And against this Luton side, which I still think are trying to gel, I think Burnley have actually looked a bit ahead in terms of their new transfers gelling, which is what impressed me the most in that opening weekend. As a prediction, it will be another close game, but I think I'm going to edge out Burnley. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to the Clarets. Let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Preston versus Hull. Now, I'm really intrigued to see how this game will go around. Preston managed to pick up a away point against Wigan. Definitely went the closest to scoring, so probably quite frustrated they didn't get something from that game against Wigan there. Hull, on the other hand, they managed to complete a comeback against Bristol City, going 1 goal down but then scoring 2. Definitely some controversy with one of their goals, but they did really well, to be fair, to fight back and to get something out of this. And I think that character is going to be a very important factor for Hull City this year. And I think against this Preston side, where I do think Hull have actually got a strong record. Last time they played against Preston, it was on the opening day where they beat them by 4 goals to 1. And I tell you what, if Hull actually continue that record there and, with the players that they've got, I think they might edge this Preston side here right now. I'm still not too sure about Preston with an attacking sense. I think Troy Parrott and Reece can grow together as a partnership, but I still think they need a couple of games to get used to each other. So for me, I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Hull City in this game. Let me know what you think of that prediction in the comments down below. Next game to predict is QPR versus Middlesbrough. So both teams, once again, didn't manage to get a win in the opening game of the season. QPR managed to lose 1 goal to 0 with another new manager at another club in John Dale Thomason and Blackburn. With Middlesbrough, they managed to only sustain a draw against West Brom after they took the lead. You feel with Middlesbrough, they really should have killed the game off and to really have a lot more control. With QPR, however, unfortunately with them, I just have this feeling with them that I think Michael Beale is going to take a little bit of time to really get things settled and sorted at the moment. And I do think that could be a really small problem for QPR. I do think they'll start the season quite slow, even though for the fact that they've got those attacking flair players. I just think the whole tweak of the system is going to take some time. Whereas with Middlesbrough, they've been there and done it before, with these core group of players and this manager too. And I think they'll comfortably ride out winners Middlesbrough. I'm going to go for a 2-0 away victory to Middlesbrough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Reading versus Cardiff. Now, this is really interesting actually. Reading, despite losing to Blackpool, you would arguably say with their XG and the stats that they had going forward, they really should not have lost out on that game. They were just really non-clinical going forward, which was the biggest factor of them not being able to get anything at all against this Blackpool team. With Cardiff, on the other hand, they barely threatened their opposition Norwich, but they were clinical going forward, and that is why they got something out of this one. It's a really tricky one, this game, but I think I might just edge Cardiff for this one. I think the attacking players going forward, I think they may have some positive momentum at the start of this season with the new transfers as well. The depth has really improved. So with that, I'll edge Cardiff. I'll go 1-0 away to Cardiff. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Sheffield United versus Millwall. Now, these are two very robust teams going up against each other. So I do think not a lot will separate the two. Sheffield United managed to lose their opening game against Watford, but they weren't completely awful. They just, unfortunately fell short in an attacking sense there and defended for the most part very well. They just got done on the counter-attack in one crucial moment there. And with Millwall, they ran out comfortably 2-0 against Stoke and are the only team, to have scored 2 and kept a clean sheet and are actually top of the championship as of now. As a prediction for this game, as a result, despite Sheffield United being at home, I think Millwall might be good enough at the back that they won't lose this game. I'm actually going to go for a 1-1 draw. I've not predicted a draw so far, I've just noticed, so I might as well predict one now. I'll predict 1-1 between Sheffield United and Millwall. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Stoke versus Blackpool. Stoke really weren't that inspiring at all last game. They really need to respond in a big way against a Blackpool team, which I do think, despite winning their opening game, I do think there could be some vulnerabilities within that squad. And I do think this will actually be quite close in this game. It's not quite as one-sided as I thought it was going to be. I do think Stoke, potentially with the players that they got, this could be a perfect game for Dwight Gale to get some confidence in. But with Blackpool, though, they've still got their decent players. They've not sold any of their key players like the CJ Hamiltons, Josh Bowlers, all of that. And they could be a big impact as well. But I see this game as being now or never for Stoke. If they don't get a win in this, then I think Stoke are in trouble this year. As a prediction, I'm going to scrape Stoke for a 1-0 home win. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is the final Saturday game, Swansea versus Blackburn. So Blackburn were involved in a very low scoring game, but they did manage to get the only goal in the game. Lewis Travis scoring an absolute stunner, from about 30 yards out against QPR, and that turned out to be the only goal of the game. And what a goal to separate the two sides as well. With Swansea, they were involved with a 1-1 draw with Rotherham, and they definitely should have scored at least 2 goals with the chances they had over Femi missing from 2 yards. But Harry Darling, likewise with Travis, scoring a wonder goal. So these, basically, both of those teams have had probably the goal of the weekend contenders last week, and they're going up against each other here. I see these two teams cancelling now. I won't lie. I think Swansea, despite them being at home, I think Blackburn might make things difficult, and I think against these two teams, they do tend to draw. I think they've drawn at least twice in the last 3 games. And in my prediction, I'm actually going to go for a 0-0 in this one. So Blackburn, despite the goal that they scored in the other parts of the game, they didn't create too much for me against this QPR side. And with Swansea, if they're going to keep holding out to the ball, but Blackburn are going to constantly have backs against the wall and, stifle them out, then I think it'll be a frustrating game for Swansea. So that is my reasoning for a 0-0 draw. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Now we go to Sunday's game, Coventry versus Rotherham. Now this is going to be a very interesting game still. I do think Coventry will probably be the favourites of this game. Callum O'Hare definitely not going to be featured, but he is linked with a move away, but he has got an injury, which he definitely won't be in contention in this game against Rotherham there. But despite that, Coventry, I did manage to see them get a point in the end, but I do think had Callum O'Hare been a constant presence, in that Coventry team against Sunderland, then maybe they could have had a chance to get something there. But Coventry definitely should have beat Sunderland with the amount of chances that they squandered. With Rotherham, they barely touched the ball, but going forward, they do look really dangerous. So Coventry got to be quite careful there. And with set pieces, I do worry for Coventry's defending of set pieces. The goal they conceded against Sunderland was a very simple cross and, poor defending from that cross. So I do think Coventry could be exploited, but I do think with the firepower they've got, I think they've gone after edge. I'm going to go 2-1-2 Coventry. Let me know what you think in the comments. Last game to the day, ladies and gentlemen, is West Brom versus Watford. This is the big game, I think, of this weekend. And Watford don't have it easy. They already did really well getting a 1-0 home win against one of the promotion favourites, Sheffield United. They've got to go away to West Brom, where I think they'll be heavily improved. They already face a tough team, West Brom, away in Middlesbrough, and the fact they managed to get an away point out of it, it's great result for West Brom there. And I do think they were a little bit fortunate that Middlesbrough didn't take the game away from them, but good character again. And I do think they've been probably the best team in the transfer window. They've not made too many signings, but the signings they have made have really improved the first team, and they've integrated very well already. And that in itself could really make West Brom very competitive. Watford, though, with that front 3, if they still keep those 3 going forward, that front 3 in itself could definitely be the difference in many games. However, having said that, apart from their counter-attack, they were frustrated by Sheffield United. West Brom similarly will be a very defensive-minded team. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a draw, so I'll go therefore for a 1-1 draw. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. So guys, these are my predictions for the Championship. Make sure you predict your predictions in the comments down below as well. Sorry about my voice and potentially my eyes as well. I am not feeling well at all. But hopefully the video still was presented as a decent enough standard. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the channel. It does really help the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you've not done so. Please also share the channel too. All of that really helps too. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys. I'll let you know if it's only the end of this video. As always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.